I'm Dev Carlson, DeVon Carlson. I was born in Topeka, Kansas, about 93 and a half years ago, but I've been in Colorado since 1942, actually. I came to Boulder in 43. So I consider myself almost a native here. Started at the University of Kansas in their School of Architecture and did 4 years there and made lots of good friends, worked hard but enjoyed it. Architecture programs are very time demanding, and usually your closest associates as an architectural student are your fellow architects, more than even the people that you live with the rest of the day, because most of your day is in the design studio. At the end of my sophomore year, I was elected to the SCARAB, the Architectural Honorary, and this one faculty member, Werner Smith, was the national treasurer for that organization. I represented the Kansas group at the national convention, and this particular professor, of course, was going to be there because of his position, and he called me in one day and said, "What would you think of putting our two expense accounts together and you join my wife and our 11-year-old son, and we'll drive to California to, I think it was the USC campus." I saw faculty life from several points of view, and I decided that I wanted to become a teaching architect. I didn't intend to do it quite as soon as it turned out, but because I wanted to work a few more years before going into teaching. But the opportunity to begin the school here appeared, and it was one of those things that you needed to latch onto it and run with it, so I did. Came out to Colorado, and the University of Colorado at that time was, well, almost overnight grew from 4,000 students to 10,000. I started out teaching freshman engineering courses, and as time went on realized that there was not a School of Architecture in the Western Mountain region of the AIA, and then Utah opened their school, and we convinced the Board of Regents here at CU to start the CU program, and we opened, well, it was quite a few years later, but we did eventually open the School of Architecture here on the CU campus, and then eventually added its graduate program. At one time, well, actually, it's pretty much true even today. The undergraduate program is on the Boulder campus. The graduate program is in Denver with closer proximity to practicing architects so that we could get them onto the faculty. I was the first dean of that school for 9 years, and then questioned, why am I doing this? I like to teach, and so I retired from the deanship, taught for another 9 years on both campuses, and in 1981 retired. It's great fun to go to a meeting and see and really see the performance of people who've gone through our program. here. That's the big satisfaction to me. I think the answer to this has got to be yes, but then when you ask me what, I can't answer that. But there's no ideal solution yet. So I think whether we're starting a school 40 years ago, 20 years ago, or 10 years from now, we're going to leave some things out that we would like to have added. I think I think the program has worked quite well. But maybe we still haven't accomplished that cooperation among the various facets of human design that we'd like to see. The engineering building did cause quite a lot of controversy, and I guess I felt partly responsible for it because, let's see, I think that started under President Newton, and he had asked me to assist the budget office of the university in the selection of architects for buildings that were forthcoming. And one of these was the engineering building. I guess I felt, since I had been partly responsible for the selection of the architect, I also felt somewhat responsible for the product that they came up with. And you need to realize, too, that until that time, the architects for the university were in Philadelphia. Very early, the firm of C.C. Clauder, but they established, they came up with the usual collegiate Gothic design for the campus, and then the last minute changed their minds and said, this is not the right thing for this particular setting next to the mountains with the Flatirons in the background. This needs to be another kind of style. Now, all of architecture at that time, of course, was designed in a certain style category. That was the tradition across the country. And so Clauder began what became known as the university style, which was the northern Italian rural residential style. You have to put an awful lot of adjectives in there to describe it, but and as long as the Clauder firm was doing the design, there was a great deal of creativity still within that established style. Upon the death of the major members of that firm, the succeeding firm pretty much just looked at past buildings, and whenever a new building was proposed, they pulled out the old files and came up with a skin for the new building, and it was up to a Colorado architect who always had to be associated with them for the university projects. It was up to that building to try to fit the function into the building, and this didn't make much sense, as you see very frequently, where the stairway crosses the two-story window and things of that sort. But it bothered many of us who were interested in architecture, and we felt that a change needed to be made, and to make the architecture really grow out of the situation here and reflect the situation. Professionally, I think the establishment of the school here, and with the exception of a few bumps in the road, the progress that it has made through the years. I really don't have any regrets. I wish I had done some things a little more efficiently, but I think life has been good to me, both personally and professionally. I hope my legacy is that there continues to be creativity occurring in the architecture program here at CU, both in terms of what the administration is doing with the development of the campus and what the school is doing in the education of young people to take our places in the profession. I will quote my wife on that for just a minute and say that she said, "I wished you had really tried to talk them into going into architecture, because then maybe they would not have." And I say that not because I am not proud of them being in architecture. I am very proud of that. But it is not an easy profession for either male or female. And we then end with two practicing architects and a third child who is a graduate of a School of Architecture in his graduate program, or his graduate work. However, he went into environmental management rather than architecture. A lot of my energy did go into working with the profession. Part of this was because of the development of a new school. We had to have support of the profession, or, well, any architectural school has got to have support of its professionals. And just as we were beginning to start the school here, Denver University all of a sudden said, "Here, we have a School of Architecture." And they started at about the same time we did. Their program was less oriented technically than ours was, and I don't know what the cause was, but anyhow, after their first group of students finished their third year of the program, DU had to abandon the school. In the early years, some of the professionals were siding with DU, some were siding with us. Both schools felt very strongly that they needed that professional support, and I felt that one way to obtain that support was to be active in the professional organization and realize what the people who were 24 hours a day in the field were having to put up with, what their decisions, the difficulty of their decisions. Being a full-time architectural educator, I felt that the professional activities would be my way of trying to flesh out that side of my career, since I was not running a day-by-day office. And the professional work, I think, helped a great deal in that. Besides, I enjoyed it. Once I got started with it, I liked the people, I liked the things that were happening. I didn't agree with all of them, but I liked the energy that was there. And that led me into being on the state, the registration board here in Colorado. And through that, I spent, I think, about 3 years in the development of a model licensing examination. That was a wonderful experience to work with other educators and architects across the country, setting up what we hoped would be an example of examination and a workable one. With my special interest in history, I felt that working with the National Trust for Historic Preservation was a must. And there again, I found the work very interesting and very helpful. So all of this, the professional work was as important to me as the campus work was. I think I'd like to have more projects that I could point to and say, I was instrumental in getting that accomplished. But at the time, starting a new school and starting my own career, there were only so many hours in the day. But I would like to be able to point to more things. I can point to quite a few things and say I had an influence on this, but not that it really was my design. I don't really feel I'm in a position to do words of wisdom. I think, thinking selfishly, I've had a good time. It's even the problems as they get filtered through the years, I take some satisfaction in. I'm glad I had to work through them. But generally, I feel fortunate in the life I had.